And finally, the pastor asked me, do you have anything to say? And I said, hi, Eugene. And he looked at me and he said, hi. And I said, I want to say I forgive you. But before I do, I need to ask you one question. And he looked at me and said, anything. What's that? And I said, I want to know, do you forgive yourself?
Wow.
And Craig, I remember this moment like it happened yesterday. He wiped the side of his eye because a tear had come down.
Mm.
And he looked back at me and he said, when you've done the things I've done, how do you forgive yourself? And I broke down. I just started to sob and cry and cry and cry. And what struck me in that moment was that I wasn't crying for myself. I wasn't crying for what he had done to me and my family. I was crying for this human being sitting in front of me, because I realized there was nothing he could do to take away my pain, and there was nothing I could do to take away his.
Wow.
And so the encounter ended, and I stood up first because I was the closest to him. And while he was still sitting, I went to him and I said, Eugene, would you mind if I gave you a hug? And he looked at me confused, and he stood towering above me. And I remember he held me really tightly and he said, I'm so sorry for what I've done. And your father would have been so proud of the woman you've become. And I went my way. I left Eugene in prison. And then I went on to advocate for his parole. And a few months later, he received it. So I guess that's why I'm sitting in front of you today.
Wow, Candice. I mean, I'm tearing up just listening to the story, and I've heard it before. It's a remarkable story. Love conquers all, doesn't it? Love conquers all.
It does.
Carry on, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I wanted to say love does conquer all, but I think it's the love of self. I didn't love myself when I was in pain and in anger and in resentment. I was punishing myself, and my body started to show it. And what I realized was, by forgiving Eugene, I was really also forgiving myself, and I was giving myself permission to live again. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about teaching this work, because it is about loving of self, and it is about giving yourself the permission to live again.
It's beautiful. When you love yourself, you're able to love others.